Well, guys, I'm going to start the Let's Play. Now, this is for the AVerMedia Game Capture HD test. And what I'm going to do is upload this Let's Play in two different ways. It's going to be clipped onto the main review of the AVerMedia Game Capture HD that I'm doing the review for, and also by itself, okay? So you'll see what YouTube does to it once YouTube gets the file and they re-encode it. The other part that's going to get clipped onto the review is going to be re-encoded with Sony Vegas, and I'm going to re-encode that into the highest quality I can with Sony Vegas. Now I want to talk about some of the good, the bad, and the ugly of the AVerMedia and some other capture cards that you may be looking at. First off, I want to say I really do love the AVerMedia Game Capture HD. It's not perfect, but there's a lot of good pluses. I think the pluses outweigh the minuses. I love having the remote, being able to capture, just sitting on the couch, click record when I'm done, stop. I don't have to run to my PC, and that's a headache. I mean, I want to click record, start talking, and then be done. I don't want to, click record on the PC and then run over to the my couch or whatever, and then there's like a gap in the video that's completely silent, and the audience may have to wait 5-10 seconds until I start talking. So that's a little bit of an annoyance that I don't want other people to deal with. Excuse me. But one of the great things about the AVerMedia is, it's like I said, excuse me, it's just so convenient to use. And some of the things that are really good about the AVerMedia is, one, once you hook it up to your Xbox 360 or your PS3, it has pass-through, so it does not need to be on. I have the HD PVR from Hauppauge, and I need to turn that on just for the signal to go through the Xbox and back into the TV, even if I'm not going to record. So there is a little bit of a downside to that, going to the box, a Hauppauge. Just it has to be on for the picture to go through. With the AVerMedia, I don't have to deal with that. And there are some other pluses to the AVerMedia. Oops, I gotta stop playing. Even compared to some of the other capture cards that are getting pretty big, such as some of the HDMI ones. And there are some benefits to HDMI over component, definitely. But there are some benefits with component over HDMI. One of the benefits of the AVerMedia is, excuse me, is let's say you watch Netflix a lot on your Xbox 360 or your PS3. You're not going to have any problems watching Netflix at all. Over a component, they can use macro vision, copy protection that kind of like scrambles the signal. That was kind of implemented back in the 80s, kind of, or the 90s, when people were making copies of movies through VHS tapes. So they still have that. And the AVerMedia and the Hauppauge HD PVR, they ignore the macro vision. And I'm going to try and talk the best as I can as I'm playing this, actually. And let's see how well I can do. And I'm getting shot. Oop, and then I just died. But the HD PVR and the AVerMedia both ignore macro vision. So you're not going to have any problems, watching Netflix. You don't have to disconnect anything at all. You can still watch your Netflix with absolutely no problem. And that's going to be for Xbox 360, PS3, Wii, Nintendo Wii, whatever device you're watching Netflix on. You're not going to have any problems at all. Now here's the bad point about when you're, you know, have HDMI. HDMI has a certain type of copy protection. I think it's called HDCP or whatever it's called. I can't remember what it's called. But basically what it does, it doesn't allow a signal to go through with certain content. So that content is always on the PlayStation 3. However, there is a workaround to using HDMI on the PS3. And it's not really that hard to use at all, and I'm trying to run and save my life here. And I actually made a video to that and how to do that. So let's say you went with the Elgato, for instance, and you use your Xbox or your PS3 for Netflix. Well, what you're going to have to do every time you're going to want to watch Netflix is you're going to have to disconnect those HDMI cables so you can watch Netflix, okay? Because when you're using Netflix, right, Xbox actually kicks in that copy protection because they don't want you copying you know, movies off of Netflix. So what I'm trying to do is not to kill any of these soldiers, and trying to find the best way around this. And come on, stupid robot. And I have to get into this building and I'll be good. So, you know, with the Elgato, the HD PVR, or the Roxio Game Capture HD, I actually did a review of the Roxio Game Capture HD, and I'll leave an annotation, a link in the description box. So actually, it wasn't a good card for me. You will actually have to unhook the HDMI from the card, and then you'll have to hook up the Xbox directly to the television. That's because of that copy protection. Now with the PS3, if you use the workaround to the HDMI copy protection, you can watch Netflix with HDMI. So what you basically have to do is you have to get a DVI splitter, and then you have to send the audio through AC3, and then the box puts the video and the picture back together. But the copy protection is removed, so you can watch Netflix through the Elgato, the HD PVR2, or the Roxio Game Capture HD. So that's, you know, it's kind of, in a way, the PlayStation kind of has a workaround, and it's kind of a little bit of, come on, you give it to me? Okay, waiting to give it to me. But you know, with the AVerMedia, you don't have to worry about that. You just hook it up and it's good to go. Now the only downside to this maybe is when you hook up your Xbox, shoot Menendez, I'm going to shoot the bad guy, is when you hook up, you know, the AVerMedia to the Xbox 360, and you're probably not going to be able to hook up a good AC3 5.1 surround sound. And the reason because of that is because the AVerMedia needs the composite cables, the white and red cable, to record the audio. Okay, so that's one thing. Now if you hook up an AC3 cable to the component Xbox cables, you know, it's probably not even going to send audio through, you know, through the composite cables at all. So I haven't tested it, but if you guys know, let me know. I just don't have a receiver to test that out. But if it did, then it'd probably be the perfect setup. But I don't think it does. Usually it sends out through one set of wires, and that's pretty much about it. Now, for you guys who are thinking about the Hauppauge HD PVR, there are still some people. I have that capture device. That is an amazing capture card. I absolutely love the the HD PVR. The only thing that, you know, it's a little bit of a pain is that you have to always have it hooked up to the PC. So that can be a little bit of an annoyance for some people, depending on where your desktop is and stuff like that. And let me just kill these guys right here. Come on. Alright, so now, like I said, the HD PVR, you always have to have it at all times. It needs to be hooked up, so that's a little bit of a pain in the ass. And but the good thing about the HD PVR is it does record the AC3 audio from Xbox 360 or PS3. So even though it is a component capture card, you can still record. You can still get 5.1 surround sound through the AC3 cable. So that's actually a big plus for the AVR. The HD PVR. And especially if you want to do a recording, keep the 5.1 audio. The HD PVR will be able to do that. The AVerMedia can't do that. But for YouTube, making YouTube videos, I don't even think YouTube even supports 5.1 audio. Maybe someday they will, and it'll probably be nice when they do have that. And YouTube is going toward, more trying to get content on television. We have the Xbox 360 app. There's a PlayStation app. There is a Wii app. There's a Wii U app. There's a PS Vita app. There's an iPhone app. There's the Android apps. So there's a lot of apps, and plus the mobile site and a lot of these other things. And also, I don't know if I said this, but the HD PVR will let you record standard definition consoles, such as, I believe, even the original Nintendo actually has composite cables, and I think it's mono, but you can record it in mono. You can record, I know you can do Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1, Sega Saturn, Nintendo 64. Did I say Nintendo 64? PlayStation is not really that big of a deal because you can play PlayStation 1 games on the PS3. And I'd probably rather play them on the PS3 because you'll have a progressive picture. So that's kind of a plus. But then again, if you're doing PS1 games, the AVerMedia will be fine also because you have the component cables. So, they all have their ups and downs, these capture cards. But you have to ask yourself, which one do you want to use every day? It's not all about picture quality, even though you do want a good picture quality. And I believe the AVerMedia does give me a really good picture quality. It's not 100% perfect, but it's to the point where it's just a little bit off, and I'm willing to deal with that because running your USB cables, unhooking a PS3 or an Xbox if I'm using Netflix, and actually I think if you have a PS3 and you're using, and let me see, I'll just pick another level. I'll just stop this one. I just want to say a few more things. The Elgato, or the HD PVR2 or the Roxy, if you're using component cables, you'll be good with those, probably. But one of the problems with some of these other capture cards, like the Elgato and you know, the Roxio and so. And probably the HD PVR 2, they always need to be plugged in at all times. So this is more toward the Elgato and the Roxio, but they use you know, their HDMI, but they use a USB power source. So you know, on the if you're using the component cables for the Elgato, you can probably just leave it all hooked up, but you'll have to get like a wall socket for your USB cable, or you're going to have to disconnect it for Netflix, or turn on your PC or something, because the Elgato will not let any signal go through unless it's powered on. And so either it's plugged into your PC, or you got to pull out that USB cord and plug it into a wall socket. You have to get those little adapters. You know, you might already have one of those if you have an iPhone or an Android phone, those little USB wall sockets. So that's something else you're going to have to deal with. The AVerMedia, I just plug it in, you know, just like an Xbox 360, it's always on. There's probably a little bit of power going through it because it is plugged in all the time, just like, you know, how a television is plugged in, because, you know, you turn it on, it goes on with the remote. So there is like a little bit of juice being used, but that's about it. So overall, I don't know, I'd probably say for recording videos for YouTube, the AVerMedia one is my favorite. But there is one other downside I do want to talk about, and that is streaming to Twitch TV, or which is also Justin TV. I think they switched the name. That there's a lot of people doing that now, and that's kind of a downer. Okay, so if you kind of wanted to do that and do YouTube, maybe look at the Hauppauge 1 or the Elgato. Those are probably the two best ones that I would recommend for streaming. Now, this is just another idea that I had in my head because I have the AVerMedia Game Capture HD, and I have the Hauppauge HD PVR. I have the one with the blue light. Now, what I could do is capture the video game footage on the AVerMedia. That will allow me to have like a high quality version for YouTube, and then I can recapture it again with the HD PVR. And there's some software that they have. I forget what it's called, but it's for, you know, you kind of like draw a rectangle or a box over where the video is on your screen preview software. And then that will stream it to Justin TV, you know. And sometimes with, like, when you're doing Justin at Twitch TV, the video can be a little choppy at times because sometimes when you're uploading, you do drop frames. But what I'm saying is, if you link the AVerMedia and the HD PVR together, you know, one is just doing the recording, so you keep that recording for YouTube. And then the one on Twitch, I mean, who cares about that one? If you're just doing a live recording, you know, and, you know, you drop some frames or whatever, you know, do you really want to rip that one? Or, I mean, if you can save that one, to rip it and then upload to YouTube, I probably wouldn't want to do that. So that's where the AVerMedia recording one would be. And then, you know, if I want to leave that on Twitch, just, you know, what I you know, streamed, that's okay because it's on Twitch. You know, but I would rather have a good version for YouTube. So, but the only thing is, the HD PVR it was never really designed for streaming. But, you know, this software, screen capture software, that does it for you. And the Elgato is really popular for streaming right now. But there are some problems with the Elgato, and one of those problems with the Elgato is the audio is out of sync. And some people have to use some special software, and what they have to do with that software is delay the audio. So that's something you may want to think about, because I haven't really seen anybody. I don't think when you use the HD PVR, I don't think there's an audio delay when you're streaming. But I'm not sure what quality you can stream with the HD PVR, but I do have one. And I'm actually going to do a review of my HD PVR, even though it is an older capture card. I still think it's a good capture card. It actually has a lot of features, that the AVerMedia doesn't have, but the AVerMedia has features that the HD PVR doesn't have. So anyway, if you guys have any questions, leave a question in the comments. I'll be more than happy to help all you guys. And again, if you are watching this video on the full review and you want to see what the quality looks like when it gets uploaded to YouTube, there's another video for that. Now, if you guys are just watching the video part of the review doesn't have the pictures of the AVerMedia, there's a link to that video as well. And I'm going to leave another link with just a small clip, probably about 100 megs or 150 megs of what the AVerMedia raw files look like. So look for that as well. So once again, guys, this has been mp4podcast.com. Sign out. You guys have a good one. Later, guys. Bye.